Welcome back to Co-Work Radio. I'm Catherine Raymock.
And I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And before we get to John Greathouse, we just want to be specific in terms of the Thomas Fire, which broke out on the 4th of December. And here we are at nearly the end of the month, the 27th, and it is 89% contained. The bulk of the fire is still burning in U.S. Forest Service land in Ojai. We still have about 1,500 firefighters on that. CAL FIRE is no longer the lead agency. The U.S. Forest Service is. If you're here in Santa Barbara, you wouldn't know that we had a fire, but obviously many repercussions for a long time to come. So that is why we're trying to help our local businesses, and we'll have other information about the Thomas Fire as we continue with Co-Work Radio here. All right, we have venture capitalist, UCSB professor, and business author John Greathouse with us. You can send your questions to AskJohn at coworkradio.com. It is always good to see you. How are you, my friend?
Another week. I'm back.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
We've got a lot of great questions. This one is from Sabrina, and she's got a small retail store. She says she's selling kids' clothes, but business is so bad that I think I should try online. How do I begin? I'm not very technical.
Ooh. So this one, Sabrina, makes me a little nervous. Maybe it's just the way it's worded. But before we talk about going online, I think let's make sure that when you say business is so bad that we understand why is it bad. Because I'm concerned that maybe your target market could be adjusted, maybe your price point could be adjusted. I'm just not sure that going online in and of itself will solve those issues. I've seen businesses have success that have one location, but they've nailed their product market fit, they've nailed their customer, they know kind of what works and what doesn't work. Then they go online and expand from one store to the whole country. That model makes more sense to me, makes me more comfortable. So let's try to figure that out first. Let's assume you've figured that out and you say, no, John, I think I've had product market fit. I think my prices are appropriate, et cetera. Then I would say there's some incremental steps you can take to go online. You don't need to go please don't hire a consultant and spend a bunch of money building a website with all of these e-commerce capabilities. You certainly don't need it coming out of the gate. I would start selling through some of these existing marketplaces. I would go to Amazon. I'd set up an Amazon store. I'd go to BigCommerce. I'd go to Etsy and Shopify and eBay. And there's actually tools that are pretty expensive, and there's even some that are almost free that allow you to manage multiple stores from one dashboard. So you're not constantly like logging into eBay, logging into Amazon, et cetera. If you're not getting traction, so I'd rather you figure out how to get traction in an Amazon store or an eBay store, which has all the infrastructure already built for you. Figure out how it comes down to things like how are you photographing the clothes? How are you packaging accessories? There's a lot of things that you'll learn just working through existing marketplaces that if those work, you can then go, build out a WordPress blog / e-commerce site that can start generating a lot of money for you. But I'd hate for you to build out that infrastructure without knowing that the underlying value props there that the customers want.
Now, for her actual retail store, I was just reading this week that the in-store experience is incredibly important. Mm-hmm. And for example, Apple makes double per square feet of, for example, at Tiffany's, because their in-store experience is so much better. So
yes.
Are there ways she could improve that?
I'm sure she could. And then there are definitely ways that the online can augment the offline. Absolutely. Brand awareness. I'll give you an example. I'm not an investor in this business, but there's a company called Z Supply. They have about 5 or 6 women's and men's clothing lines sold exclusively through retail at first. They dipped their toe in the water online, but they didn't want to upset their retailers. They were trying to be a good partner. And their retailers actually came back and said, no, we love that you're selling online because it increases the brand awareness. And now we actually have people walking into the store and saying, I know you guys sell Z Supply here. Do you have anything new? Really expanded their business.
I was just reading a couple of weeks ago that Nordstrom is experimenting with basically having Nordstrom consultants. Mm-hmm. So they're brick and mortar stores. You go in, you don't actually see anything. They help you order online.
Right.
That's how restoration hardware is now.
Right.
So people still want that one-on-one experience. Now, I'm not saying this is the experience for Sabrina, but just when when you were answering that question, and I know that for entrepreneurs, their business ideas are like children.
Right.
When you know that one is not working, or how do you know when to pull the plug? You've had so many businesses. How do you do that?
It's hard because it is, you said it's like their baby. It's like saying your baby's ugly, right? It's just, sometimes the baby is ugly. I know they're not, but
Let's
sometimes
edit
they
that
are.
out.
Not ours, but yes.
Not ours.
My
No, but
babies are all Labradors.
yes, saying your puppy's ugly. How's that? No, it's just really hard because not every idea is a great idea, and so I think rather than, I can't give specific advice about a specific idea, but I think be self-aware enough and never be dogmatic about your ideas. Always be open to. I used to love it when we would sort of discover that something we thought was right was wrong because it got us that much closer to the truth. I always felt like every time we made a mistake or every time we did something incorrectly, we got closer to doing it right. And so nobody walked around, angry because it was their idea that because nobody had their idea. We were all working together to make it work.
I'm a big online shopper, as Catherine knows. I actually buy all my clothes on eBay. I apologize to Sabrina and other retailers. But the number one thing I look for is the star rating from past customers, and also for Amazon, too. I even search by customer reviews.
Because that could be a growth hack. So even though they try to police that, there are ways to,
really? I didn't know that because some of them have like 6,000. It's like 4.5-star reviews.
Yeah,
it's like Yelp or anything else, right? They're
John,
it's
you're
like
killing
Twitter
me.
followers, Facebook followers. I'm sorry,
John.
Okay, so Sabrina is, again, if she's not very technical, you told her, please don't go out and spend a whole lot of money.
Yes.
And she's even listening now, and she's going, well, that's great. I mean, get on Amazon. I don't know how to do that. Can she hire someone to at least help her with that portion
pretty
of it?
simple.
Yes,
It's pretty simple.
but it is pretty. If you can buy stuff on Amazon, it's it's
I've
not
sold on eBay, and it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's not a huge leap, but again, I would do as much on my own as I could just to see if that market is valid for her.
But growth hacking the customer reviews, that was actually a great idea because I didn't even know that existed. It's
Yeah.
it's cheating, and we don't recommend
I
that.
know, that's why it's like a gray market thing, gray hat thing I'm not excited about, but people do it.
Sabrina, we hope we answered your question at least a bit. And we are with John Greathouse, as we are every week here on Cowork Radio. If you have questions for him, you can email in to askjohn@coworkradio.com or go to our website at coworkradio.com.
Yes.
We're getting some good questions. Keep them coming.
Thank you, John. And just so you know, and everybody knows, I am on a 60-day hiatus from online shopping. I'm on day 6, and I might not go back. You are listening to Cowork Radio, and this is an entire episode for the honor of the Thomas Fire and to support our local businesses. Follow us on social media, coworkradio.com. You can download episodes on iTunes, iHeart, and we will be right back.